Ladies and gentlemen, Violent Games here, coming at you with another Dishonored 2 build. Today, we have a fun gimmicky build called the Blademaster. The Blademaster is going to use no weapons in the game other than the sword, as well as no offensive powers from the void. We're going to be using our sword exclusively, both in open combat and stealth. I went for a more open combat approach, as I thought it would be the most fun and the easiest way for me to get clips for you guys, honestly. So, without further ado, I'd like to jump straight into the Blademaster build. So the first thing you need to know about this build is how to play to the theme as much as possible. The best way to actually play the Blademaster theme is to unequip everything from your left hand. The way you do this is you simply unequip everything from your inventory, clear out your hotkeys except for the grenade. Once you have just a grenade equipped, you throw grenades out into the sea until you have no more of them. Once you unequip your sword and then re-equip your sword, you will have nothing equipped in your left hand and you will have the sword in the right hand. This allows us to focus only on sword combat and nothing else, except for our passive abilities, of course. This is very important. You must stay to the theme, young squire, if you are to achieve the Blademaster build. It's a really fun playstyle, and it's a really unique way to play the game. I enjoyed myself. So now that I've taught you how to maintain the theme of this build, let's move into abilities. First thing I like to grab is Reflexes. I like to grab the base rank Adept Parry and superior Deflection. This is going to make us feel like a supernatural swordsman as we deflect bullets back at our enemies, and then also have a ridiculous parry window, really. That's all Adept Parry does. It makes your parries, like, insanely. Just the window for reflecting a bit. You get parries when you honestly don't deserve them, is what I'm trying to say. Next thing I like to grab is Agility, and I grab all ranks. It's really convenient when you don't have the use of supernatural powers to just be able to move really, really fast and double jump. This is going to allow us to basically reach all vertical points within the game and do some hardcore parkour. It's also going to help us maintain our theme since we're not supposed to use any supernatural powers even for transportation. After that, I like to grab all ranks of Shadow Kill, and unlike builds I've made in the past, this build actually takes full advantage of every application Shadow Kill has to offer. When we kill enemies in stealth, it eliminates the necessity of us having to hide bodies, but when we kill enemies in open combat, they turn into bloodflies and attack their nearby allies. Taking full advantage of this perk certainly feels good, and it's nice to have a passive to support this playstyle. The next perk is a necessity in all builds. We're going to be grabbing Bonecharm Crafting, and we're going to pick up all ranks. Being able to recycle runes and make runes into stronger runes, it's wonderful. Next up is an ability I almost never recommend, and that is Bloodthirsty. We're going to be picking up all ranks. Now, Bloodthirsty is very thematic for this build as it allows us to savagely kill up to 2 opponents with instant kill strikes after accumulating a certain amount of bloodlust. It's really awesome and thematic and makes you feel like a beast, and I love that aspect of Bloodthirsty. However, the reason I've never really recommended this ability in the past is I found too often that when you use these instant kills, they have a wind-up animation, and it's an awkward one, and it's an inconsistent one, and sometimes runs into bugs, allowing you to take unnecessary damage. Now, it's not going to matter for this build because we're going to have enough sustain and tanking to deal with that damage without it ever having, you know, any amount of bother on us. So, yeah. The negative aspect of Bloodthirsty is not really a factor here, so I decided to throw it in here to make its debut on the channel. Up next is yet another ability I never really showcase on this channel, and that is Strength. We're going to be picking up all ranks of this. Now, we're not going to be getting it for the base rank, which allows us to throw objects farther. That's going to serve no purpose for this build whatsoever. However, since we're not going to be using anything in our left hand whatsoever, I like having the ability to smash doors with your sword. Again, it makes you feel like a beast. It's very thematic with this build. It's literally just an ability you pick up just to enjoy the theme of this build. And I honestly enjoyed myself, you know, playing to this theme, so yeah, get Strength too. It's fun. And just to put some sprinkles on top, we're going to pick up all ranks of Vitality. This is just going to give us more health. It's the only purpose, really. It's just extra tanking for lulz. It's not so necessary. Vitality doesn't give you that much more health, in all honesty. It doesn't make a difference to me, I've noticed. But yeah, just pick it up because why not? Now that I've gone over all of the abilities we're going to be needing for this build, let's move into the Bonecharm segment, shall we? First Bonecharm we're going to want to get is a corrupt Bonecharm by the name of Witch's Skin. This is effectively going to turn us into a tank. What this Bonecharm does is when you take damage, instead of it taking from your health pool, it takes from your mana pool. Since we're not going to be using any supernatural spells, Witch's Skin is nothing but a raw benefit to us. Our mana pool would have nothing to do with our playstyle if it wasn't for Witch's Skin. It's an absolute necessity if you want to become a tank. Next up, I'm bringing back a classic on this channel, Ground Glider. I really love Ground Glider, guys. Being able to get ground glide kills as efficiently as possible is really good in this game, both in open combat and in stealth. So Ground Glider, very underrated Bonecharm in the minds of the community, in my opinion. Next up, I like to grab Spirited. This is going to make our mana elixirs more effective. I like to grab this simply due to the fact that our mana is our first line of defense before we start taking any damage to our health. Reserving our mana is going to be way more important than reserving our health for that reason. Then I like to go ahead and grab Swift Shadow. Since we like to mix up our playstyle a little bit, Swift Shadow giving us an increased sneak speed is going to make sneaking feel a lot more fluid, and it's going to make it feel encouraged for this build. After that, I like to grab Whirlwind. Since the sword is going to be our only solution to everything in the game, we ought to swing it as fast as possible. Following this, I like to grab another corrupt Bonecharm by the name of Power Slash. Power Slash is going to dramatically increase the damage we deal with our sword, but dramatically decrease the swing speed of the sword. Luckily, this is balanced out by Whirlwind once we upgrade it fully, so this combination effectively just makes our sword swing about average, but gives us a lot of meat to our swings. This makes it very easy to destroy Clockwork Soldiers with our sword. Following this, I like to pick up a black Bonecharm by the name of Fleet Fighter. Never in this build do I want you to feel discouraged from having your sword out. That would just be anticlimactic and unthematic, and it would just hurt my feelings, okay? Grab Fleet Fighter. Following this, I like to pick up Falling Star. Once we do drop assassinations, we are going to get some mana back. This is really good if you're ever in a difficult fight and you notice your mana bar is getting a little too low. You can literally just jump on any object in the game, then do a double jump, then land on an enemy, and you're going to get an instant kill. Once you get this instant kill, you're going to regenerate a decent portion of mana, which is going to translate to you being able to take more damage. This is going to overall help our sustain. For the next Bonecharm, I like to get Relocation Sickness. Now, we are literally getting this Bonecharm because witches are a pain in the dick for open combat for this build. Literally, it's so easy to deal with them, I understand. However, if they just decide for whatever reason to continuously teleport around you and spam projectiles, it can get pretty annoying pretty fast. If you want to just eliminate that problem altogether, just get Relocation Sickness. It's just fun because they just fall over and you just laugh at them and they die. That's how things should be, ladies and gentlemen. That's how things should be. And finally, guys, we're going to be picking up Spirit Water. This is going to allow us to restore our mana at any tap in the game. Beer tap, bathtub tap, kitchen sink tap, it doesn't matter. You can restore your mana anywhere. Transitioning into the upgrade segment. First upgrade I like to get is Bonecharm Slots. This is going to allow us to equip all of our tasty Bonecharms. After that, I like to collect Collector's Carapace. You see what I did there? I punned. And also, you're going to be able to tank more damage. That's really the premise of that. I think that While Moth Dust Wrappings would help us with stealth, I don't think it benefits you as much as taking less damage overall. That's just my honest opinion. If I have to choose between the two on a mixed playstyle, I do recommend Collector's Carapace. After that, I like to pick up Monkey Wrench. Now, this is the reason we're playing on New Game Plus, folks. If I didn't mention it before, we're playing on New Game Plus to get Monkey Wrench. The whole theme of this build is to have the sword deal with everything in the game. This isn't really possible if we can't deal with Clockwork Soldiers now, is it? So getting Monkey Wrench as a New Game Plus bonus is really, really important to this build. Occult Kiss would be nice to have for this build since witches are kind of tougher enemies to deal with. However, having Power Slash and Whirlwind kind of helps make up for that damage loss. You do decent damage without Occult Kiss and still take care of witches with relative ease. After that, we grab Sword Crossing. When we get into sword contested, locked, duel things, whatever the hell they're called, we don't have to try super hard to win those. Not that it was really hard to deal with to begin with. We're literally just grabbing this, honestly, because we can. Like, literally, we don't have anything else to spend our money on. And then finally, we're going to grab Silent Running. This is going to help us with stealth applications and also allow us to engage in aggressive stealth. Aggressive stealth kind of starts as a sprint, then you can do a double jump into a ground glide and get a kill. I actually do it at some point in this video. I believe it's in the Clockwork Mansion, so keep your eyes open for that if you haven't seen it already. Now it is time for the verdict. How did I feel about this build? Is it viable? Did I have fun? These are really the two questions I like to answer when it comes to the verdict. So is it viable? Yes. You can beat the entire game using just the sword, and it is satisfying and fun. I really enjoy Dishonored 2's melee combat mechanics. I really enjoy parrying. I love the sounds it makes. I don't know. I think Arcane did a really good job when they made the melee combat of this game. So yes, this build is satisfying from that standpoint. I also enjoyed the theme of this build. I think that using nothing but a sword kind of forced me to use some perks that I didn't really use before, or at least it allowed me to use some perks I never used before, and I enjoy that aspect of it as well. Like, I never used Strength 2 because it's pointless. You can break out the door with any tool in the game. However, if we're forcing ourselves to use our sword, we kind of get a benefit from using it, so I enjoyed that, as well as using Bloodthirsty for the first time in one of my builds, and not really having to worry about my health as much and just focusing on getting the kills as soon as possible so that I don't run out of mana and start taking damage to my health. The build functions well, it plays well, and it has a fun gimmicky twist that if you're kind of jaded on Dishonored, I feel like this can bring some joy into your life. Anyways, guys, this is Violent Games signing off. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll hope to bring you some more content soon.